And welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. I'm your host, Brooke Mitchell, and today's webinar is Paddling Portugal's River of Wine, presented by NatHab Expedition Leader Nancy Moore. Thank you so much for being here today, Nancy. Over to
Uh,
you.
yeah, thanks very much, Brooke. Really appreciate it. I'm super excited to be here. That means we're in season. Uh, uh, I'm thrilled to share more about this trip and details for those people that are have already signed up for the trip, so that they're comfortable coming in and know a little bit more around what to expect. So let me just start by saying this is me. One of my favorite places in the seat of a kayak. This has been my baby, this trip, for over 20 years. And I just fell in love the very first time I did this trip, fell in love with Portugal and this region of Portugal in particular on the Douro Valley. I'm a professional sea kayaker and a food lover and a wine lover and a port lover. So it really checks all of my boxes. Um, and I'm also a conservationist. My For the last 20 years or more, I've been an independent consultant working with conservation organizations all over the United States. This is a team effort, and this is our team. We like to refer to ourselves as the Three Musketeers, or now you can see Four Musketeers. On the left, you have Vitor, then myself, of course, Pedro, and Pedro's son, the newest member of our team, Rodrigo. I refer to these guys as my brothers from a different mother, because I've been working with them for a very long time, and they truly are family. Vitor started this trip shortly before I came on board about 25 years ago. So we've been working together for about 23, 24 years. Pedro came on 20 years ago, and Rodriguez joined us now about 3 years ago. Really, I can't say enough about working with this team. Whoops, fast finger there. Let me back up. So come on, go back to the map. Here we are at the map. So this is a map of the region that we're in Portugal and the Douro. And of course, we start this trip in Porto, which is the far left, right up against the Atlantic Ocean. Um, it's safe to say that Portugal has been completely discovered by other tourists. This region has been discovered by other tourists as well, to a much larger extent than it was when we first started this trip 25 years ago. When most people come to Porto to experience this region, if they get out of Porto at all, they might travel up the river, as you see, going upriver there to Regua first, and then to a place called Pinhao. And Pinhao is appropriately named the heart of the region, given its location there right in the center. But we actually go far beyond Pinhao and all the way east, not only to Barcadalva that you see here on the map, but all the way up where the dots are along the border between Spain and Portugal. We paddle a total of 5 days, with a break in the middle of that paddling to experience the beautiful Coa Valley, which is actually the third UNESCO heritage site that we experience on this trip. So we find that paddling is a tremendous way to experience the river itself and this old world region. This is the airport, the Porto airport. Porto itself is actually only about 400,000 people and growing. And the surrounding area is makes it about 1.2 million, 1.3 million. So ultimately, the airport is not as large as you might think. It's very easy to work your way around. If you are flying directly into uh, Porto from the United States, you'll go through customs first, and which is not typically not a very long line, and it moves pretty quickly, and then to baggage claim. That's not won't be a long line, but I will just share that it takes a bit to get the baggage onto the carousels. So sometimes people get a little frustrated waiting for their luggage, but it will come, and they'll keep communicating with you as it's coming. Once you get your baggage, you're going to go. You'll see right where to exit with your baggage out into what is a meet and greet area, and that's where we do just that, where we meet and greet you. We have not only are we wearing our NetHab attire, but we'll have a sign with your NetHab sign, of course, and with your name on it. Excited to greet you and welcome you to Porto in the beginning of the adventure. Overall, the airport's very easy to navigate, and it's about 20 minutes from the hotel. If you come via another European destination to this airport, just a small detour from what I just talked about, which is that you'll be going through customs wherever you land elsewhere in Europe. So you'll go directly to baggage claim from the plane here at Porto, and again go out into the meet and greet area and find us, and we'll go to the hotel from there. Another way to get to Porto is by train. So for those of you that might fly into Lisbon and spend a few days in Lisbon or somewhere else in Portugal before you join us in Porto, this is the train station that you'll be coming into. It's Campanhã. Beautiful train station, and that's even it's a high speed trains come in to here from Lisbon, which are just fantastic. And this is even simpler to find us. You're going to get off the train with your luggage, go up an escalator. You'll see there's only one escalator that goes up, and you're going to go up an escalator, and at the top of the escalator we'll be standing there again with our NatHab branded attire on and a sign with your name on it, so it's easy to find us. And this train station is only about 10 minutes from the hotel. This is the hotel in Porto that we use and that we've used for years, Hotel Infante Sagres. And this is my third brother from a different mother, Jose. He's the head bellman there, and he has been head bellman at Infante Sagres for over 30 years. So when I arrive, and when we arrive with all of our clients, customers, new friends from NetHab, the whole hotel staff, really, not just Jose, but the whole hotel staff know us well and are super happy to see us. So a few pictures of Porto itself. On the left here, we have the city center, which is just to the left. On this picture on the left, is our hotel, just up the block from where we're looking right now. And that city center is actually a UNESCO heritage site as well. You'll learn a lot more about that once you come in. And then on the right, we have boats floating on the river looking back at Porto itself. So we're on the opposite side of the river in a community called Via Nova de Gaia, where all the port cellars are that you'll see. And the Barca Rebellas are super special vessels in that they were the traditional vessels used. You can see, if you look closely, the casks are that are what they call pipes that are on those boats with big oars on the back. And those were the vessels to bring wine and port downriver when the river was a wildly rapid and crazy river to even navigate. It's just almost unimaginable to think of getting all your wine and port downriver by loading on those casks, typically using oxen, and then going down what was in some places beyond Class 5 rapids in the Barcarovellas. If you haven't made reservations yet, or even if you have, I would just say that Porto has become an absolutely magnificent city, and with greater investment all the time. It's got great food, great markets, architecture, museums, and street life. There's musicians playing, really talented musicians playing, and artists painting. So it's just a terrific place, and I would encourage people to come in early. They have the opportunity not only to experience Porto, but to get over a little bit of jet lag as well. And then, of course, once we begin the trip, day one of the trip, we start by going from Porto and our hotel across the river to have a fantastic opening dinner and a private tour and tasting over across the river in Villanova de Gaia, where those Barcarovellas are. And it's just a terrific, terrific way to start the trip. It's another picture, beautiful picture of part of the architecture. That's the Torre dos Clérigos, one of the highest points in Porto. And why does sorry, backing up here. One of the highest points in Porto. So it's very very easy, and that's really close to the hotel. So as you're wandering around Porto, enjoying yourself, to get back to the hotel, it's very very simple by looking for that tower. Okay, so as you probably already know, if you're interested in this trip, this is quite different than many other natural habitat adventures. In that it's not about wildlife. It's really about immersing yourself in a very unique, and immersing yourself in a very unique way into a beautiful old world, stunningly rich culture that is northern Portugal and the Douro Valley. With incredible traditions, agriculture and beautiful terraces on the banks of the river, food, wine, port, and just the warmth and the welcoming of the Portuguese people. My first trip here actually was in only a handful of days after 9/11. And I can tell you, it's part of the reason I think why I originally fell in love with this region, is I was just blown away at the warmth and the richness of the culture that we experience. To get your mouth watering a little bit early, this is just one picture, a few appetizers at one of the meals that we have upriver. I would let you all know that one of the things that's unique to this trip is that we've had many clients ask us when we're going to write a cookbook, when we're going to do a cookbook, because our food as well as wine is so stunning, and this list of appetizers is no different. Just from the bottom up, just real quickly, is of course some almonds. In September, we're in almond season, so we will see absolutely, field upon field upon field of almond trees. They're very similar to a Marcona almond, and they're just really yummy. And of course, we have a Portuguese cheese that's not unlike a brie, that's crusted on top with honey from the valley as well. and we have some Pedron peppers. And let's see what else we have there. We have some what are called alheada sausage. That is a sausage that's unique to northern Portugal and has its own story. Um, so it's just one little bit of a flavor. Here's a breakfast spread at that same location. This is Casa de Rio, and our breakfast spread in the morning. Again, a stunning location. Once we finish our time in Porto, we're gonna jump on at a different train station. We walk from the hotel to a different train station. São Bento is what it's called. To hop on a different train to take us upriver, which is to going, of course, from west to east, all the way up to a town called Pocinho. This train used to go all the way up to the border of Spain and Portugal, but it actually stops at Pocinho now. So we leave our luggage. Our luggage goes in vans up to the end of the train, where the vans meet us with our luggage and the kayaks and the gear and all that stuff. So it's a super easy walk to the São Bento train station. Uh, and we take the train because it's stunningly beautiful. It goes all along the river, and the further out we go on the train, the more the valley and the beauty of the valley and the vineyards open up before us, almost like a flower in bloom. And the mountains get bigger, and uh, the villages get more quaint and beautiful, and so it's really much better than like taking a highway, for instance. So that's part of the reason why we do the train. It's just a great it's a great ride. And then there's a few photos here of as we go. You can see the train tracks right there on the left picture, and then another picture again from above of some of the beautiful terracing that happens along the river, and gives you more of a sense of the mountains that we're experiencing as well. And you can even see a few almond trees on the left hand picture as well. Another beautiful shot of the river and the region and the terracing. Here we are in Felgar, which is our first stop upriver. Felgar is the home of Casa Sana Cruz, our first home away from home upriver. And you can see it's very, very different from Portugal. Felgar used to be about 2,000 people, and now there's about 500 people. And it's safe to say that the vast majority of those are elderly, as you can see in these pictures. And it's a tiny little, mostly agricultural town, which is to say the people that remain there have small plots, mostly small plots that they take care of, and they can sell their agriculture, whether it's almonds or grapes uh, or olives. They can sell to independent producers, and that's exactly what they do to maintain any kind of a style of living. And it's just super peaceful and beautiful, and really typify the kinds of small towns that we spend our time in. This also is typifies the region. This is obviously someone picking grapes. Because of those terraces, every single grape in the valley that is harvested by hand. You can imagine how backbreaking that would be. But again, it's part of that old world culture, and part of the pride of this region is that, in fact, that everything is tended to by hand rather than mass production or a lot of heavy duty scenery. In June, these grapevines are super, super green, and as I like to say, they need a bad haircut, or they need a good haircut, I should say. Um, they are pruned twice a year, and once being in June in spring, and of course they're pruning to make sure that all of the nutrients get directly to the small bunches of grapes that are just starting in June, at the beginning of the high heat season, if you will. In September, and the rest of the valley, by the way, in June is also very green because it's been raining, colder, not freezing, but colder in the winter, and they've been getting pretty much all of the rain that they get until the summer months hit, all winter long. And then once summer hits, this is a microclimate. So once summer hits, the rain stops in July and August. And it gets super dry and super hot and super brown. So in September, while in June it's super green, in September the only thing that's green are crops that are being cultivated, whether it's fruit trees or almond trees or grapes, and everything else is brown. Um, and but again, it's still in its own way stunningly beautiful. And this is another thing that's very typifies the region. This is a traditional lagar. When the grapes are harvested, they go through what's called a first crush to get rid of all the things like stems and leaves, and they go into a lagar. Nowadays, most of the grapes are crushed by robotic lagars, but there are still smaller houses, and some of the more traditional houses that use humans to stomp the grapes, and it's nowhere near like the I Love Lucy episode. They're very serious about their work. They join arms as they have here, and there's actually a drum on the side of that lagar, and that is keeping them all completely in unison, like in a military formation, going back and forth and to front and back and from side to side in a lagar to make sure that all of the grapes are stomped evenly and taken care of evenly, and they stomp very seriously again to that drum for about 2 hours, and then after that it becomes a little bit of a party, but they stay in there for another 2 hours after that. So this is the traditional lagar. And here we are, a good picture to talk a little bit about the clothing that we need and that we use here on the river. This is obviously a natural habitat group enjoying the riverside with our kayaks. First and foremost, of course, we need to talk about quick dry. So you can see here that everybody is donning their quick dry clothing. You also will probably notice that people have layered. So we have layers going from a bathing suit to having a long sleeve top for sun protection, to having good hats for sun protection for your face as well. And everybody here, or almost everybody here, has good water shoes on. The few that don't have their water shoes on have just set their shoes aside for the moment, but we always have good, we want to have good water shoes with us. There are lots of different manufacturers of good water shoes. If you're unfamiliar with or new to kayaking or paddling, you'll see many of the folks here have what are called Keens. That's Keens, and they work terrifically. But there's a company called Tiva that also has great work. Solomon. There's lots of different brands readily available, and that they're terrific because they have good toe protection. They have good soles on them as well, and of course you can get them wet. The other thing you'll notice here is there's at least one individual that's using a pair of rain pants to cover from the sun, and we do recommend that you bring rain gear as well. It's very unusual for it to rain in the Douro in the seasons that we paddle there. Um, Rain doesn't typically pick up until October. It stops in June, and it doesn't typically pick up until October. But for all kinds of reasons, including climate change, things have shifted up a little bit. So we encourage you to bring rain gear as well. It doesn't have to be heavy duty, but certainly can serve to help cover the sun as well. And it can also be a terrific windbreak. You can see how placid the river is behind these kayakers, and that's very typical. But if we do have any kind of weather, quote unquote, it's more typically wind. And if the wind does come up, of course, it's helpful to have a bit of a windbreaker, and your rain gear can obviously serve in both ways. We don't carry our luggage on the kayaks. They always go in the vans. But we do have dry bags that we'll issue everyone to be able to carry the layers that you need on the river. Might even just be a single layer. And so we issue dry bags, and in those dry bags can be the layers, can be your sunscreen, could be your camera. We also strongly recommend that you bring carabiners to be able to clip in dry bags or anything else that you choose to bring on the kayaks. Nobody goes over in the kayaks intentionally. It's a very placid river. They're very stable boats, but we really would hate to have anybody lose something of import if for any reason. We've had individuals who haven't clipped in their water bottles, for instance, and as you know, natural habitat water bottles are metal, and so if they do go overboard, they go to the bottom. It's pretty hard to catch up with them. So carabiners would be one thing I just want to highlight on the gear list, and in addition to the water bottle. And then the other thing you'll notice, a few people here in the picture are wearing what we call croquis or ties to hook onto your glasses. Again, we wouldn't want anyone to lose a valuable valuable pair of sunglasses or worse, prescription glasses while they're on the river. And so I'm bringing along croquis for your glasses. Really important, and we want everything to be clipped in. I'm thrilled to say that we have brand new kayaks as of last year. We bought a whole new fleet. So we're traveling with really good gear and kayaks that are really well designed for the type of trip that we're doing on the Douro. So shifting gears to nighttime as opposed to our time on the river, this gives you a little bit of idea about how we dress at night. This is to say we follow Portuguese tradition. Like lots of Europe, in the nighttime, the tendency is for folks to dress up a little bit, spiffy up a little bit at night. So you can still wear, of course, your quick dry, and it doesn't have to be anything super fancy. But we really do appreciate it if people gussy up a little bit in the evening. And that could include a different pair of footwear, so you're not wearing wet shoes all the time. That footwear can be sneakers or sandals, a little bit fancier sandal if you want. And again, it can continue to be quick dry. You don't have to bring fancy dresses with you or anything. But the places that we stay really appreciate it, and we are staying in some stunning places. This is actually on the patio, the last place that we stay. You can see it's quite a view. And so we just throw in a few things that provide you with an opportunity to gussy up a little bit at night. Here I wanted to. This is actually a view from above of the International Park. We're standing on the Portuguese side, and across the river is the Spanish side. So you're actually looking at Spain from this view. And this gives me a great, you can see how stunningly beautiful it is. Again, we have the river all to ourselves. We're the only one that's allowed to paddle in the International River, which we do in September. In June, we're not able to paddle the International Park because of the nesting that happens with the big vultures and birds that call the International Park their home. So instead, we paddle a different section of the river that's actually one of my favorites, and and actually, I am so glad that it's part of the itinerary because we took it out of the itinerary at one point, and you'll when you experience it, you'll know why. So this is a great opportunity for me to talk a little bit uh, about paddling because we realize that not everyone is a professional paddler that comes on this trip, and some people haven't never picked up a paddle. So I want you all to know that when I say a professional paddler, I've been paddling for over 30 years. I've been an instructor and a coach and for 25 years, certified as such. And there's nothing I enjoy more than turning someone on to the sport of paddling. So while I would certainly encourage people to try out paddling if they haven't paddled before, if you can before the trip, try out paddling. If you haven't done it before, that's certainly encourage that. But know that that I not only teach people starting in the very beginning. I coach people as we go down river, especially if they request it, but because I certainly don't want to hound somebody. But we, my responsibility, our responsibility as expedition leaders is to make sure that everybody feels comfortable on the river and stays together as a pod. And you can see how glass-like is this, right? So I'm always impressed with how much progress people make in a short 5 days on the river, and I don't want anybody to worry about the sort of degree of difficulty, if you will, around the paddling in this on this particular trip. So you can again, as we've talked about, we provide the dry bags, we provide the paddles, PFDs, otherwise known as life jackets. Those are also all brand new last year. And we expect to not be weighing down our boats with a lot of gear. And it's just terrific paddles. Here's a few more pictures of our paddling downriver. We have intentionally picked each section of the river to be different as well. So, and this contrast that you see here certainly offers that. On the left, you have an incredible gorge known as the Valeria Gorge. That's as we dam nearby, it narrows, and this is massive wall of granite. And on the right, you see again beautiful terraces and almond and olive trees. Um, just know that too, we also have, for those of you that might be concerned, safety is always our priority. So in addition to all of the coaching and instruction that I'm happy to provide, we also have a safety boat with us. That's part of the reason why we brought Rodrigo on board. And so he hangs back so we don't have to listen to his engine or smell the gasoline on the engine. But he is on the river with us at all times, and so I just want everybody to feel secure. And we do go over our safety protocols every morning, both protocols on the river and our signals that we use, including signals on the river that we use. We paddle about 3 to 5 hours a day for those days that we're paddling, and of course that's with breaks. And some of those breaks are on the river, some of them are off the river to give people an opportunity to stretch or to take a bio break. And, again, the only thing that we ask of people is that their folks are open and game, and we promise that we'll have a blast going down the river. This is what it looks like when you're not on the river. It gives you an idea of the kind of walking that we do on this trip. We're typically either on going through paths in vineyards like these folks are doing, or we might be walking down dirt roads, and occasionally some asphalt roads as well, which is to say it's not heavy duty hiking. We definitely have some really nice walks, but it's not heavy duty hiking. It doesn't require heavy duty hiking boots. I would say wear some comfortable sneakers, or a very light hiker works great. If you're somebody who is more comfortable with walking sticks, certainly feel free to bring your walking sticks. We're happy to tuck them away, put them away if they don't fit in your if you want to have access to them on a regular basis when we switch things up. It's, you can see that there's some grade going up and down the river, but again, most of our walks are intentionally built to not be too strenuous. Here's a little picture of some of our sites as we are walking. There's some beautiful olives on the left-hand side, and of course some luscious grapes ready to be picked as the vine turns its crimson red color of winter on the left. You can see we also take advantage of the opportunity to stop along the river and do some picking of that which we're seeing. This group is stopped because that's a grove of orange trees and that are ripe and ready for the picking. So we took a snack break. We picked oranges off of this orange grove. Here's a picture of our midday break that I talked about in the Koa Valley. So this is a picture of the Koa Archaeological Museum, and this is one of the more special features of the trip. The Koa Valley and the archaeology of the Koa Valley is the third UNESCO Heritage Site that we visit. And you have not only a picture of the museum here, and the corner of the museum on the left, the corner of the museum looking down at the river, but also close-up picture. If you look very carefully at the picture at the bottom, you'll see there's a little horse head there etched into the rock. And that's what the archaeology is all about. It's just one of what are thousands of etchings that are not in caves. They're not painted. They've been etched by using rock, flint as one example, and they were etched 25,000 years ago. So it's some of the oldest rock art on the entire planet, and it's an extraordinary story in and of itself, and we have an opportunity to not only hike out to see the rock in the wild and get up close and personal like that picture at the bottom, but then we also take a tour of the museum, which is extraordinary, and have lunch at the museum. And actually the lunch spot is right where that glass is at the museum. It's a beautiful restaurant with a beautiful view, and so we spend the full day exploring the archaeology of the Koa Valley. So, as I said earlier, the the Douro is not about wildlife. This trip is not about wildlife. I like to say you're the wildlife. But this is some of the wildlife that we will see. These are griffon vultures who make their home most especially in the international park, although we certainly see them further downriver as well. So these vultures are huge. Just to give you a sense, their wingspan is 9 to 11 feet, and you can see they have very large bodies as well, and they make the international park their home because they can nest in the cliffs of the rocky cliffs of the international park, and they can use the thermals that come off of those cliffs to actually get in the air. In the absence of those two things, they would probably find somewhere else to live. That's critical to their survival. And they are a protected bird, and that protection has been really fantastic over the years. Their numbers have grown substantially. They're late sleepers because they need those thermals, as I said, to get off. So they wait for the sun to rise high enough that it warms up the rocks, and the thermals really pick up enough for them to launch and to fly. They're just super fun to watch. Also, another beautiful vulture known as the Egyptian vulture. It's less common. We certainly don't see as many of them, but it also makes its home in the Douro. You do have an extensive wildlife list in your pre-departure book, and actually I put together that wildlife list for this trip. But I would say that these big birds are the most common that we'll see. We'll certainly see other smaller birds as well, but a lot of the smaller critters, land critters, for instance, the foxes, or the ermine, or the hares, the wild hares, are small enough, and are good enough at hiding that it's pretty tough given the terrain for us to pick those out. Here's another of the larger birds that we'll typically see. This is an eagle. This is a golden eagle. I would say the golden eagle and what's known as the Bonelli's eagle is the most common. And we do have other wildlife, but that would be, or at least pet life. And so for a lot of people that are missing their pets, just want to introduce a few of my favorites. These are almost every place that we stay, all but one actually. They have their own host, if you will, their own greeters that are pets. This is the kitty at the bottom center is Babokish, and actually the picture on the left is Babokish when he was only 8 weeks old, and he is the house cat, the primary house cat at Barrio do Gazal, and then Inez is the one that's on the left. Here we have on the left we have Franca, and Franca is one of several purebred dogs that are at Casa de Rio, and they're big. They're very big dogs, and they're not only purebred, but they're very special dogs to Portugal. So these dogs are known as Serra Estrela, named after the highest mountain in Portugal, and they're actually sheep dogs. I'm afraid that Franca has never gone after a sheep himself. He's pretty much of an oaf, especially during the summer months when we're there and it's hot. He'd rather be in the pool if he ever gets a chance to sneak in there. But they're super friendly. And then, of course, on the left we have Kika, who belongs to Quintas Mosh. and our friends Lorraine and Miguel. Here, and finally, we have a picture of pictures of some of our accommodations. This is Casa Santa Cruz in Felgar. This is inside interior. It's a 17th century farmhouse that was literally falling down. It didn't have a roof. It was falling apart, and our friends Anna and George have lovingly put it together to create a stunning first home for us. Each one of the places that we stay is very different, and each one of them has their own story, which we share. The stories of our accommodations are part of the trip. And you can see here, obviously, there's a beautiful pool, and at the bottom level, all lit up, is actually the dining room of the facility. And again, most often we're the only ones that are staying at any of the accommodations that we have. We've intentionally picked smaller, more intimate facilities. They all have Wi-Fi, although I'd encourage people to spend as little time on their phones or computers as possible. They all have hair dryers. They're all basically 5-star accommodations, 4 and 5-star accommodations with very, very loving hosts. So I don't think you'll be wanting for creature comforts. Here's a picture of Casa de Rio, perched in a little valley, little dip here in the middle of some vineyards. Again, a stunning facility. These are clients walking up a path. To the right of the clients, the little valley there, are the fruit trees and gardens which serve the kitchen in this facility, and it's just a stunning spot. And here we have the infinity pool at Casa de Rio, right on the river here. Again, beautiful vineyards all around and beautiful views. And here you can see Victor and Pedro and myself, and actually a NetHab staffer, Val, who's on the air desk, for those of you that might be NetHab regulars. It's Val when she came to visit, and you can see this is one of the really the only boats that we see the entire time that we're on the river. Are these cruise ships, these large cruise boats, river boats, and we'll maybe see 1 or 2 a day. In fact, there was a client a few years ago that said, we need to put something on the side of the kayaks, like maybe something like paddleyourassoff.com. And so we think hanging out in the pool at Casa de Rio is instead the way to go. Again, just a shot of Casa de Rio. And then this is the Barrio do Gazal, just beautiful facility in a tiny town called Mursa. And it's a series of old schist storage buildings that were lovingly transformed into little cabins, all in a row on the same street, with a beautiful pool off the side of a cliff, frankly, in this little teeny town. And you can see here's a little bit more a picture of breakfast on the veranda at Barrio do Gazal. So with that, I just want to chat a little bit more about money, and then I'll take questions. So as I'm sure you already know, we operate here with Euro. When we are in Porto, every place I know in Porto takes credit cards. So there's no problems. There might be some street vendors that would prefer Euro, but Porto is very easy. There are ATMs, including several within easy walking distance of the hotel, where you can get Euros. You can, of course, also get Euros when you arrive at the train station There's an exchange, or at the airport there's also an exchange facility. So there's any number of ways to get euros before or immediately when you arrive for into Europe or for this trip. Um, so when you're in Porto, again, it's very easy. Once we get upriver, because we choose to spend most of our time in small communities, and we don't have shopping except for maybe for olive oil or for wine or port as part of our itinerary. Um, uh, it's helpful to have some euro to go upriver. We go to boutique wineries where they don't take credit cards. They don't all take credit cards. Casa de Rio does because it's a small part of a much larger corporation. But for instance, when we're uh, in Casa Barrio do Gazal as an example, that has olive oil, or if we go when we go to Quinta dos Mosh for a private lunch, which is a boutique winery, they have wine and they have port and they have olive oil for sale. Having some euro available is nice. That being said, we're pros at this by now, so we always carry extra euro with us, of course. And if for some reason you decided there was something you wanted to take with you, wanted to purchase to take home with you, and you didn't have enough euro on you, we definitely have lent our travelers euro as we're upriver, and then you can just go to an ATM or work with us when we get back to Porto and make sure we get reimbursed for that. So don't ever feel like put yourself in a place of can't. I will tell you that when we're in Porto, the larger houses that we work with in Porto, wine houses, do have shipping capabilities. The smaller houses that we work with upriver cannot ship, and it's not Portugal; it's the United States that doesn't allow for that. So we have perfected that too. My record coming back from Portugal is 20 bottles in my suitcases. And we have a whole system down to wrap olive oil and wine and whatever you want to take home with you, and tuck them in your suitcases. And I even have several places I've identified in Porto to be able to buy cheap luggage if you get carried away. Um, but it's quite easy to bring things back. And I will tell you that my foodie friends always say to me, we love the wine, we love the port, but please bring back the olive oil because the olive oil from this region is particularly special. I think I've covered everything I hope to cover, so I'd be happy to open it up for questions.
Nancy, that was so great. I'm so excited for everybody who's going on this trip, and I really wish I was joining you. I was just daydreaming that I was in there with you on the river in those kayaks. Just how amazing. Or in that pool with Val and you
Yeah.
overlooking the river. That was gorgeous. All right, everybody, we have a few minutes left for some questions. In your control panel, there's a little questions box. If you have anything, go ahead and drop it in there, and I will pass it along to Nancy. So we have a few coming in. The first one here is if somebody is a solo traveler, do they get their own solo single kayak?
Yes, most often yes, which is to say that we have in the new fleet we have more singles, so we have both singles and doubles. We don't have a full complement of 12 singles. I think we have either 4 or 6 singles now. And so your adventure specialist, if you would like a single, the way we handle that is to have people let their adventure specialist know that they need or would like a single, and the singles are handled on a first come, first served basis. I will say too that travelers have been very, very helpful in if for some reason we have too many people that want singles. People have been game to switch it up a little bit over the course of the week so everybody gets their turn at a single. I'm also more than happy to paddle, to give up my single and paddle a double with someone. So we have a good complement of both.
Fantastic. Next, is there any time reserved for swimming on the river?
Absolutely. It's a fantastically beautiful river, not only for its paddling, just sort of environmental beauty. I love swimming in the river, and I love it when clients uh, want to join me. So, and I can speak for Daniel, who also does this trip, who also enjoys the swim. So it's a nice clean river, and you can swim off the beaches where we have beach landings. You're also welcome. For instance, again, when we're in the international park that first day in September, there's a dock or two that we hit, not only there but further downriver. So sometimes you can take a dive off the dock, but absolutely swim in the river. Yeah.
Awesome. Next, here, what is the average water temperature then, say in June?
Great question. So I would say the water temperature in June is the high, obviously depends on the spring, but I would say it's high 60s, low 70s. So as I like to say, it's refreshing. Um, it'll wake you up, but it's again very doable. And I say that as a maniac. I grew up in the state of Maine, in the ocean, so I might be a little more used to colder water, but it's definitely very doable.
Awesome. Next, on when you're on the river itself, how are water bottles refilled?
Yeah, so we make sure everybody has a full bottle before we start, and then I carry about 5 liters of water in my kayak, to enable people to refill all day long. And in fact, Rodrigo also carries water in the safety boat, so we always have plenty of water with us.
Awesome. And this is the last question I will ask you today, Nancy. Is there any concern about biting bugs or mosquitoes or flies, or should people bring bug spray, those kinds of things?
Great question. So the valley is pretty good because it has been god awful hot. And when I say god awful hot, I mean like sometimes over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in July and August, and super dry. Um, the bugs, generally speaking, are very low. Okay, there's not a lot of bugs in the valley. The one insect that we do experience upon occasion is yellow jackets or bees. And that's because we're, especially in September, that's the case. Because, as some of you can imagine, we're in harvest season. The sweetness of the grapes and the citrus and everything that's ready for harvest is a huge attraction. They need to fatten up for winter, to tuck themselves away for winter. So we do have yellow jackets. Then, if anyone has any concerns about allergies to bees or yellow jackets, I'd strongly recommend bringing an EpiPen if you are somebody who is concerned about that. Um, and otherwise, we do have methods to keep them at bay. For instance, when we're eating outside, excuse me, but that's really it on the insect front.
Great. So we have reached the top of the hour. So that is the last question. I will pass your way, Nancy. If anybody has any further questions and you are booked on this trip, go ahead and reach out to the concierge team. They will be more than happy to help you or reference your pre departure briefing if it is there already. If not, it'll be coming soon. And then if you would like to book this trip, the adventure specialist team would be more than happy to get you all squared away. So, Nancy, I would like to turn it to you for any last closing comments.
Thanks so much, Brooke. I really appreciate it, and thank you for checking in on this trip and learning more about this trip. I look forward to seeing those of you that are already signed up for the trip. And again, thank you for the opportunity. As I hope you can tell, I'm super passionate about this trip and about Portugal, and I have no doubt that you'll enjoy it as well.
Absolutely. Well, Nancy, thank you so much for taking the time to present to us today and teach us about this amazing trip. And I would like to thank everybody who tuned in. Join us tomorrow for our next daily dose of nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including registration links on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I will conclude the webinar. Goodbye, everybody.